So by a show of hands, who has had cancer or had loved ones that have been affected by cancer? So currently 11 million people are living with cancer. What this means is we spend $50 billion a year diagnosing and testing for cancer. We'd like you to imagine a world where we are winning the fight against cancer. Our vision is to reduce the burden of cancer on every one of us.
Our team of MBAs came together because we deeply care about this issue. I'm Ashley, and I bring design and marketing expertise to our team. Ben brings experience in organizational development as well as strategy. Garrett has experience in engineering and corporate development. And finally, Bhavesh, our co-founder, has an MS in physiology as well as experience in managing clinical trials. Bhavesh and his mentors came together and founded our solution, Phylomics. In addition to the team you see up here today, we have a strong board of advisors that have experience in biotech. These include Drs. Omri and Dr. Abu Asab, authors of the patent, Jean Panier, former director of finance at Pfizer, as well as John Puisis, who has 25 years of experience in commercialization. We believe that with our team and this strong board of advisors, we will be able to take Phylomics to the next level.
Phylomics has developed a patented process for the predicting and diagnosing of cancer. Our simple process detects molecules that are unique to the cells of cancer patients. First, we collect a blood sample. That blood sample is then put through a mass spec machine and our patented algorithm. This produces what you see here, a cladogram, or a visual representation of a patient's cellular activity. This cladogram can show healthy, transitional, cancerous, and metastatic states of cellular activity. So if you can imagine exhaust from a gasoline engine and a diesel engine, our process can detect two different exhaust profiles. It can differentiate one exhaust profile from the other, and it can tell you which of the two engines is having problems, aka cancerous. Our technology can also detect problems with the engine before it breaks down. And that's what you see here in the middle, this transitional stage. Our patent actually has the ability to detect cells in a pre-cancerous stage. And that's earlier than any diagnostic on the market today. We intend to bring this technology to market by addressing the most common form of cancer affecting men today, prostate cancer.
So prostate cancer affects 3 million, almost 3 million men today. What this means is individuals starting at age 50 are recommended to get a prostate exam every year. This means that the average American male will get more than 30 screenings in his lifetime. The current technologies are pretty expensive, they're invasive, and they're uncomfortable. These include the digital rectal exam, the prostate-specific antigen test, it's a blood test, and lastly, a transrectal ultrasound. To give you a sense of the scope of this problem, let me give you some data. So there are 46 million men at risk of prostate cancer, but due to the invasiveness, the lack of efficacy around current technologies, only 22 million men actually get screened each year. What this results in is 1 million men getting biopsied. And of those 1 million biopsies, 200,000 detect cancer. Now, what you're not seeing here is the 800,000 individuals that unnecessarily undergo a biopsy. We think this is pretty problematic, given that those 800,000 biopsies, 64% of them will have complications, and 2% of them will have serious complications, including serious infections. So what we can do, instead of these 3 tests, we can replace all 3. We make the process more efficient and more accurate. And by making it more accurate, we eliminate the 800,000 false positive indicated biopsies. But that's not all. We can do this much more cheaply than every other technology out on the market today. So we calculated the lifetime cost for an individual to undergo all of these current battery of tests every year. It amounts to something over $10,000. We're able to achieve this for $4,000. This provides value for doctors insurers, as well as patients. So obviously, we're not the only folks doing early cancer detection. So let me tell you a little bit about the competition. There are current technologies, like what I've already told you about, as well as developing technologies. These developing technologies include GRAIL, which is a genomics-based system, and nanoparticle-based technologies. We're able to achieve an accuracy of 99%. However, these competitors are only able to achieve within the low 80s. We're able to do this and deliver at $200 price point and an internal cost of $100. And while we do this, we're completely non-invasive. So this is the amount that we think will actually get us through these trials. We think the clinical trials will be our main cost, followed by human capital, lab facilities and equipment, as well as regulatory and legal costs. Now let me give you a sense of where we're coming from. We filed our provisional patent in 2007. We finally got approval in 2014. Since then, we've published 11 peer-reviewed journals, validating the 99% accuracy. We also established partnerships with NIH and Georgetown. And moving forward, we're looking to establish additional partners. We're looking at MD Anderson and the Smilow Cancer Center at Yale. Our next step will be lab setup. Lab setup will be followed by protocol initiation, which means we start the clinical trials. We already have approval and are ready to start at the NIH and Georgetown. And we see that here, the clinical trials are rather truncated. We think this is because we have a very strong classification within the FDA as being previously vetted, as well as some specific exemptions unique to our technology. After clinical trials, we'll seek FDA approval. And only after FDA approval will we seek a strategic acquirer. And we think a strategic acquirer would benefit us for several reasons. And we think that the biotech industry is particularly well suited for acquisition.
We've discussed a lot about prostate cancer, but our technology has been validated to diagnose each of these types of cancers simultaneously. Unfortunately, the regulatory burden of approval is very high, and a well-capitalized strategic partner would be best suited to help us move forward. They would also be able to help us mitigate risk for insurance reimbursement, building a sales force, and limitations provided by 20-year protection of our patent. We have identified several key companies that we feel would be a good match for a strategic partner in both the diagnostic and health insurance industries. A $60 million multiple, a $60 million valuation after the FDA approval of our prostate cancer process is very conservative for industry comparables and would return a very good multiple for our investors.
So we think there's a pretty clear reason for you to invest. We have a patented technology. It covers multiple types of cancers. We have a huge market opportunity, $50 billion market. And we have great advisors and partnerships already in place to see this idea through. So I'll leave you with one question. Can you imagine? Because we can. Thank you. We are Phylomics, and we'll open up to questions.